Hey, I got a new book today, which was a surprise, and it's a book of God's words. This is the first time I have owned a physical copy of God's words. I usually read God's words from this phone, but I've actually got a book. It's very exciting. Um, it's leather. It's got a bookmark built it like attached to it. It's real leather, and the back says, "Belief in God means believing that there is a God. This is the simplest concept of faith in God. What's more, believing that there is a God is not the same as truly believing in God. Rather, it is a kind of simple faith with strong religious overtones. True faith in God means experiencing the words and work of God based on a belief that God holds sovereignty over all things. So you shall be freed of your corrupt disposition, shall fulfill the desire of God, and shall come to know God. Only through such a journey can you be said to believe in God. Amen." Those are God's words right on the back. That's what I just read. And I was watching a movie that made me feel really good and really confident, and I just have a lot of joy in my heart. I just feel so good. Um, and what was the movie? My Belated Testimony. That was the movie. You can watch it if you want. It's on YouTube. It's available for free. It's a really good movie. But I wanted to read from this book. I don't know how long this chapter is. Oh, it's pretty long. It's pretty long, so I'm not going to read all of it. I don't know when I'll stop reading it, but let me read a little bit of it. Today, when you seek to love and know God, on the one hand, you need to go through suffering and refinement. On the other hand, you need to pay a certain price. Loving God is a most profound lesson. It can be said that what people learn throughout life and their belief in God is to love Him. That is to say, since you believe in God, you should love God. If you only believe in God but do not love God, fail to know God, and you have never loved God with any real love that comes from the bottom of your heart, your belief in God will be in vain. If you believe in God yet do not love God, your life will be wasted and it will be the basest. What is the meaning of your life if you have never loved or satisfied God during your life? What is the meaning of your belief in God? Isn't that a waste of effort? That is to say, believing in God and loving God comes at a price. It is not the pursuit of outward actions, but rather having true insight in the depths of the heart. If you sing hymns and dance with enthusiasm, but fail at your practice of the truth, is this loving God? To love God, you must seek God's will in everything. Whatever you encounter, you need to look to it in its deepest roots, to find God's will and see what He desires for that occasion, what He requires you to achieve, and how you can care for His will. For instance, if you encounter a problem that requires you to suffer, you should understand what God's will is and how you can care for His will. You cannot satisfy yourself. You should put yourself aside. The flesh is the basest. Instead, you need to seek to satisfy God and fulfill your duty. When you think like this, God will especially enlighten you on this matter and your heart will be comforted. Whatever you encounter, no matter how big or small, you need to first put yourself aside and treat the flesh as the cheapest of all things. The more you satisfy the flesh, the more it demands. If you satisfy it this time, it will make demands of you the next time as well. If you always act in this way, you will eventually love your own flesh more than ever. The flesh always has extravagant desires and wants you to satisfy it and allow it to enjoy itself in food, clothing, having a temper, or pandering to its weaknesses and laziness. The more you satisfy it, the greater its desire grows and the more wanton it becomes. Amen. And this this passage that I just read, like very much so, um, is in line with what I was watching in the movie. As far as like, it's the same lesson that I was learning, or well, I've already learned it. I've already experienced it. But basically, we should submit to God to death because, like, when we're about to die, when God is about to take our lives, we shouldn't complain. We shouldn't be scared. We shouldn't be worried. We should put all confidence in God and continue to love Him just as we always have, even unto death. Even as we're about to die, like when I was, we should just submit to all of God's arrangements, including our death. And so, like, when I was experiencing severe chest pain, I mean, it started out, I just had chest pain for maybe a week or 2 weeks. I can't remember how long. But I'd been experiencing chest pain, and finally, my mom talked me into going to the hospital. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go to the hospital. So I was outside smoking a cigarette, waiting on my mom and my sister to show up. And they showed up, got in the car, and it was just like normal chest pain that I'd been experiencing for like 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, it became so severe. It became so severe. It just like, it was so severe that it was hard to breathe. I was like, just doing that makes me cough. But it was so severe, it was like really hard to get a breath. Like, it was like my lungs had collapsed or something. And I was like, this is it. I'm going to die. And I told my mom to put on Christian music, the Christian radio. And I just was praying to God constantly. And I was like, God, if you're about to take my life, I submit to your arrangements. I accept that you're going to take my life. I accept that I'm about to die. I accept that, my life is being taken from me at a very young age. I accept it all. And I just want my final words to be I love you, because I just want you to know that I love you, and I want you to know that before I die. Because I love you, even though you're about to take my life, even though you're about to cause me to die, I still love you, and I'm not mad at you. I submit to your arrangements. And I was just, it wasn't exactly like that, but that's what was in my heart at the time. And I just kept praying that over and over, and I was just ready to die. I was ready. I accepted it. And then when we got to the hospital, they called me back and started taking my blood. And as soon as they started taking my blood, well, not as soon as they started taking my blood, but after some of the blood had been pulled out of my body, the pain started to ease up and it became bearable. And I was like, oh, thank God. I said, thank God out loud. I said to the nurse that was taking my blood, I said, well, the pain's getting better. Thank God. I said it out loud to her because I was so thankful that the pain had eased up. Even though I was ready to accept my death and submit to God's arrangements, like, I was thankful that I got to live, because who wouldn't be, right? And I was thankful that the pain had eased up because it was unbearable. It was like unbearable. It was so horrible. That pain was so severe. That was the most extreme pain I've ever felt in my life. And it was making it very hard to breathe. Like during the moment when I was experiencing the severe pain, like there were moments when I would go maybe 5 seconds without breathing because I couldn't control my lungs. Like I couldn't even breathe in or breathe out. Like I would just like for like 5 seconds, and then I would get a little breath in, and then 5 seconds without breathing, and then breathe out. And then like it was so painful. It was like controlling my lungs, and it was making it hard to breathe, and it was like so horrible. And you know, I'm just so thankful that I've been able to bear that testimony. And you should be preparing to bear that testimony as well. You should be ready to accept death and submit to God's arrangements during death and accept that He's taking your life from you. You should have that attitude. You should be preparing yourself now. Because if you wait until your deathbed and you're not prepared, you'll probably complain and bargain with God and ask for a little bit more time. And all of that is sin. That's all sinful. All of that is sinful. And that you don't want to spend your last moments on earth sinning. Like you want to spend your last moments on earth with submission to God. That's the attitude you should possess. So that's what I've learned today. And so loving God is lifelong. You don't stop loving God just because you're about to die. You have to always love God. Amen. So that's the lesson I learned today, and that's the lesson I wanted to teach about, read about, Um, so yeah, that's it. God bless and amen. Amen.